Okay, it seems like folks are rolling in. Welcome to today's webinar. Our topic today is Seeds to Flourish, which is a sampler from our Flourish curriculum, and we've put it together, and we're really excited to share it with you all today. Um, I am going to go ahead and start, and if folks keep rolling in, that's just fine. So if you're here, you probably know we are Pure Edge Inc. And Pure Edge is a private operating foundation that provides direct service to organizations through professional development and strategy thought partnership. My name is Erin. I'll be your guide today as we venture into this Seeds to Flourish curriculum. I'm the Director of Curriculum and Instruction at Pure Edge, and I've worked very closely on this project, so I'm excited to share it with you. Our goals for our time together is really just to introduce the sampler set, and through that process of introducing it, I really want to reassure you all how simple it is and how accessible it is, and how this is something that you can very easily deliver in the settings where you work. I want to walk you through one of the lessons from the sampler set. And then as we walk through that lesson, of course, like always in our Pure Edge sessions, we're going to experience the strategies. So we're not only talking about these practices and these skills that can support the well-being of the kids in our care, we're also learning to embody them. And we do that by actually experiencing the strategies ourselves. And that makes us better able to share them with the kids. And finally, we're going to make sure you know how to access the Flourish curriculum and the sampler set on the Pure Edge website. And I'm going to point out how to find some of the video supports that will help you as you deliver this exciting new curriculum. Okay, so as we get started, just to kind of give you the frame for the curriculum, the full Flourish approach really is resting in the idea of compassion. And we're sharing both with ourselves and with the kids that compassion means showing care or kindness when someone is in need, and that compassion is a skill that can be taught and strengthened with practice, right? So all of these skills, and it's not just compassion. The curriculum starts with compassion and it builds from there into many other, social skill sets that the kids want to develop and that we want to support them to develop. But these are skills that can be learned and can be taught. And the Seeds to Flourish is just a way to introduce some of these ideas, concepts, skills, and strategies into your classroom. The curriculum is the result of a really lovely collaboration between the University of Virginia, including the Contemplative Sciences Center, the School of Education and Human Development, and YouthNext, as well as the Compassionate Schools Project and Pure Edge. So it was, many moving parts came together to create this curriculum. And the curriculum is authored by Alexis Harris and Tish Jennings. The components of the Flourish curriculum, and these are basically the same, Flourish and Seeds to Flourish, which is our sample set we're talking about today. We're really teaching core social and emotional competencies. Every lesson includes mindful movement and physical activity. Now, if this is not your area of expertise, don't let that scare you, because we've really worked hard in Seeds to Flourish to make those portions of the lesson super accessible. Every lesson includes some mindful awareness practices, and we're hoping to help the kids establish skills and mindsets for lifelong health. In the K-1 grade level band in particular, in the full Flourish curriculum, primarily the mindful movement is delivered through this really fun um, style called the K-1 moving story times. So the moving story times incorporate movement into storytelling, and it really helps the kids engage with not only with the movements, but also with the topics and themes. Um, it really invites them to practice feeling that self-regulation in the body. And then they also practice their empathy skill set because they're enacting and actually literally embodying different characters. Now, teaching a moving story time is a multi-skilled process. So we included one moving story time in the sampler set and with lots of supports to help you deliver it in the way that would be the most accessible for you. But when you engage in the full Flourish curriculum, those moving story times really become a main theme throughout all of the units. So just giving, we're taking from that larger frame and now we're just looking at the actual Seeds to Flourish curriculum sample set, right? And the sample set includes 5 sample lessons. Each lesson is able to be delivered between 20 to 30 minutes. Now, there's a range because some of the activities you have control over, you know, do I have time to repeat this a couple of times? Can I add another example into my scenario? So we really wanted to make it flexible. It's structured and it's scripted, but you have some control over how long to spend on each portion of the lesson. The lessons are designed for ease of implementation. And there are video supports for the movement practices, so you can either lead the movement practices yourself, or you're able to deliver the movement practices using some videos that we created to support the curriculum. So the 5 lesson topics that are included in the sample set are what is compassion, learning about me, best self, appreciating others, and our community. Sorry, thought I set my silent mode on, but technology is having fun with me today. Um, so when we look at these lessons, we selected lessons. We were trying to show sort of a range of topics that were covered in the full Flourish curriculum. We also chose lessons that were able to fit into the format for Seeds to Flourish because the Seeds to Flourish lessons are shorter. So the lessons are edited down. And you'll see what they look like because we're going to walk you through one. So the lesson I chose for our session today is lesson 3, which is called Best Self. So for each lesson, there's going to be a goal statement. And the goal for this lesson is that students will explore what it means to be their best self. They will discover that being their best self is one way to care for themselves and others. So we see there that we're building on the theme of compassion, right? In the first lesson, we've introduced compassion and we've talked about what compassion is. And now lesson 3 is, broadening their understanding of that. And this lesson topic is really exploring the skill of self-management, where kids are understanding how they can experience powerful emotions and how they can still act in ways that are like their best selves. And then again, each lesson is going to have an essential question. How can I be my best self? And an I can statement. I can tell you one way I can be my best self, right? Every lesson in Seeds to Flourish is going to start off with the same mindful moment, and that's calming and focusing. So I'm going to invite you to join me in these two strategies. They're two strategies, but they're paired together. So for the calming strategy, I want you to come into a comfortable sitting position. If you're in a chair, you want your feet to be on the floor if that's accessible for you. If you're on the floor, you could sit with crossed legs. And then I'm going to invite you to bring one hand to your belly and one hand to your heart. And just start taking some gentle breaths in and out the nose. Just breathing in and out. If you like to close your eyes when you do your breathing strategies, you can close your eyes. If you like to keep your eyes open, you might try tucking your chin and just bringing your gaze away from the screen. Let's take one more breath here. Nice, gentle breath in. Nice, relaxed breath out. And when you're ready, you can release your hands back into your lap. And just take a moment to notice how you feel. And if you would like to go ahead and share in the chat or the Q&A, I'm not sure if our chat is open today. Go ahead and let us know how it went. How did that feel for you? What did you notice in your body? Okay. And the next exercise is called focusing. And for the focusing exercise, what we do is I'm going to ring a bell or a chime. You can really use anything that makes a sound, a resonant sound. Some teachers will use a tone bar. Just use what you have on hand. And what you're going to invite the kids to do, and I'll invite you to do it in a moment, is just listen, right? So we're really inviting them to bring their attention to their ears. The resonant sound is going to linger in the air. And you're just going to ask the kids to raise their hand when they hear the sound stop. Right now, I'm trying this today over the computer. I'm not sure how well the sound will travel. So if it doesn't work out, we tried our best, but we'll give it a try. So again, just in any comfortable position, if it helps you to close your eyes, you can close your eyes. And I'm just going to invite you to listen for the sound. And when you notice the sound stopping, now I'll raise my hand because for me the sound has stopped. When you deliver this exercise in person, there's a pause between when you stop striking the tone bar and when the vibration stops in the room, and the kids will really pick up on it, and it increases their focus. So again, go ahead and you can share any responses in the Q&A if you have a response to those exercises. This is how we start the lesson every time. After the calming and focusing, we move into the content of the lesson. So for this lesson, we're going to ask the kids what they think it might mean to be their best self. And you are a quiet group today, but if you would like to share what you think it means to be your best self, go ahead and share that in the Q&A. And, when I think of being my best self, oh, great. Okay, I've got a response. Trying your best. Thank you, Lauren. That's a wonderful response. So, how can you try your best, right? What does that look like? Let's see. I also think maybe it's easy to be my best self when I'm doing something I love to do, right? Or when I'm, feeling supported and nourished, being open and patient. Oh, that's a lovely thought in terms of what it might be to be your best self, right? So, again, in the lesson, we're just inviting the kids into this conversation, asking them, engaging them, engaging their curiosity and hearing what they have to say. And at this age, kindergarten and first grade, you really get some fun responses, some sweet responses, and it's just a fun interaction to have with the kids. And then the curriculum's going to guide you. You want to help students, so you're going to guide them along to the answer that one important way of being their best selves is acting in ways that show care and compassion, both for themselves and for others. And Deneen has shared that in her response, as she already said, when I'm helpful to others is when she feels like her best self. So you guys are right on task here. Love it. And in this lesson, then we invite them to explore a couple of scenarios. So we invited them to explore two. I just chose one because of our limited time. So we chose some scenarios that are relatable to kids and to young kids, kids in this age group. So here's the scenario. Raphael came home from school to find that his baby sister had gotten into his crayons and broken most of them. How do you think Raphael might feel? Right? And so when you ask this question to the kids, you might get a range of responses, right? Because everyone doesn't experience the same situation in every way, right? So they might say Raphael was mad. They might say Raphael was sad. They might say Raphael thought it was funny, right? There's different ways of experiencing that situation. And so we'll hear from them, we'll hear what they think. And then again, inquiring, well, how could Raphael be his best self by showing care for himself and others? And we're just having a conversation with the kids. And again, if you would like to share your thoughts on Raphael's scenario, go ahead. Um, I want to preserve our time, so I'm not going to hang out here for too long. But if I were leading this lesson, what I would try to do is hear what they say, and maybe they might say something like, oh, not get mad or not get upset. And then I try to lead them from wherever they are into like maybe a slightly more subtle understanding. So it say, well, what if he does get mad? Because, sometimes we can't just not get mad. And then if he does get mad, what are some things he could do that would be acting like his best self, right? So then we're talking and teaching about some strategies that might work. Um, right? So again, Deneen shared that she would be upset if she were Raphael, but she would also understand that the baby doesn't know any better, right? So maybe thinking about the baby and understanding that the baby didn't mean to do it. If we do feel really upset, maybe we could talk to our grown-up that's in the room with us and get some support. Maybe we could take a break, right? What are different things we can do to help us feel better or just help us manage these challenging emotions that we have? And that's a really great perspective. So we have a perspective shift. You can still color with broken crayons, right? So maybe realizing even though they're broken, it's not so bad, right? They still work. I can still draw, right? So again, there's no one way to have this conversation with the kids, but we really want to hear from them, engage with them, and help them think through some of the skills and strategies that they could use to be their best selves. Okay, I'm going to move on to in the interest of time. So the next portion of the lesson moves into mindful movement. And in each lesson, the mindful movement is often tied into the theme. So, for example, in this lesson, we invite the learners to think, well, how can I be my best self during mindful movement? And our best self is taking care of ourselves and others, right? So I would suggest something like maybe we'll make sure we're keeping our bodies safe, right? We're not in each other's space. So make sure you have enough room around you so you're not going to bump into your neighbor, right? That's one way to be your best self in the mindful movement class. That's taking care of others. Taking care of yourself, it's, listening to your body, making sure you pay attention when you do the movements. And if something doesn't feel right, you make a change, right? So just things like that. So helping them connect the movement to the theme. And then again, to support educators who might be less experienced delivering mindful movement, we gave a range of options. So we included teaching tips for the mindful movement. So there's guidance in terms of how to deliver. Every time a new strategy is introduced, there's step-by-step instructions listed right there in the curriculum. We always note when we have a video available to support. And then you can see on the page here, we included the page. So this little blue area is the note that just reminds you you can use a video or deliver yourself. And then we included the drawings, right? So you have it's like a little cheat sheet, right? As you're leading the class, if you want to lead the movement yourself, there's always a guide so you can follow that guide. So we, again, tried to make it as simple as possible. And this mindful movement is the Fresh Start sequence. And I wanted to share the video that we have to support the Fresh Start sequence. If you would like to follow along, you're going to want to start from standing. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and play that. So hold on. Okay, sorry, I'm having a little trouble. There we go. I had a little trouble getting my video going. So that's the mindful movement. And again, there's a variety of ways to deliver, but our goal was really to make it simple and supportive for you. Um, After the mindful movement, we get into some of the resting strategies. So one of the rest strategies is the kind mind strategy. And again, this is a mindfulness strategy that's also helping kids um, kind of direct some of that care and compassion to themselves, which is going to support their ability to be their best self. So I'll take you through this very simple strategy. So for kind mind, you want to sit in a comfortable position. And again, your eyes can be open or closed. If you'd like to put one hand on your belly, one hand on your heart, what we call the anchors in this curriculum, you can go ahead and do that. I'm going to repeat some sayings. They're really well wishes that we're directing toward ourselves. And then you can repeat them after me, either out loud or just silently in your mind. Okay, so may I feel healthy and strong. May I feel happy. May I feel peaceful. And then just taking a nice gentle breath in and out. And just notice how it feels to extend kind thoughts to yourself. And again, go ahead and share in the Q&A if you have any responses. I'm going to keep moving so we can get to the rest of our content here. So not every lesson, but many of the lessons have an optional lesson extension. And this is just a simple way to explore the lesson themes in greater detail. And they're different. Some of them might be a game that you could play with the kids. In this lesson, it's a little drawing worksheet that they can do. So draw what you are doing when you feel like your best self. So it's kind of a free and open-ended activity that really, lets the kids engage with the theme of the lesson at a deeper level. And you could deliver these at the same time as you do the lesson, or it might just be an activity that works for you to use at a different time during the school day or the school week. Okay, so the curriculum and the resources to support the curriculum are always free and they're available on our website, which is pureedgeinc.org. If you already have a curriculum account, you can just log into your curriculum account and go to the curriculum page. If you don't have a curriculum account, you can scan this QR code and it will take you to the place to sign up for that curriculum. So when you get into Flourish, just or get into the curriculum once you've logged into your account, you go to the Flourish curriculum, and then you can see the buttons. There's K-1, 2, 3, or 4 to 5. Today we're looking at K-1, and we're going to scroll down, and you can see down here, there's Seeds to Flourish. So if you click on that button, the curriculum sample set will pop up, and you can go ahead and download it. The videos and supports are all on the same video link, so you just click right here and a new tab will open. That'll take you to our video library. And I have that all pulled up. Okay, and there's a lot of great resources in this library that are not all Seeds to Flourish specific, and I just want to highlight a couple of them. So but first I'll do the specific videos. So when you go under K-1, this is where the videos that you need for the Seeds to Flourish curriculum are housed. And some of these videos are not in the curriculum. Some of these are in the full Flourish curriculum, but all of them are here and they're all labeled very clearly in the curriculum manual. So it'll be easy to know which ones to access. And then if you scroll down a little bit, I just wanted to point out this part because it's sort of a treasure trove that I think people miss sometimes. So like I mentioned, Tish Jennings is one of the authors of the curriculum, and we have this section here of Tish leading some mindfulness practices for educators. So one of the things that just, it's a thread that weaves itself throughout all of our work with kids is that you can't do this work for kids if you're not taking care of yourself, right? So we always want to give the educator tools for their own self-care, for their own self-management, for their own well-being. And we have a lot of them right here. So I encourage you to check out these videos. Tish is great. She's an expert and they're just really lovely. And then below this section, some of the breathing strategies and mindful moment strategies, these are more like demonstration videos where you're seeing an educator deliver those strategies in context. So that's the video library. And I just wanted to point out in terms of delivery for this curriculum, We always like consistency when we're doing this type of work. So whether, if you're going to do it on Mondays at 10 o'clock, then try to stay Mondays at 10 o'clock for all 5 lessons, just so the kids begin to expect that routine. You can deliver this curriculum every day for 1 week, or you could do it weekly. You could do it a couple days a week. It's really how it works best for your schedule. Our recommendation would be if you're delivering it weekly, let's say, then we would encourage you to incorporate some of the strategies like the calming and focusing, or the kind mind, or the mindful movement. We'd encourage you to visit those strategies every day just to support the kids' learning. And from here, for those of you who are still on, if you have any questions, go ahead and ask in the Q&A, and I can hang out and answer them. And if not, you can always reach out to us. Let's see, I'm just gonna check the Q&A. Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you all so much for being here. It looks like some of you are already excited to implement, and we always love to hear how it's going. So if you do use the curriculum, please reach out, let us know, and let us know how we can support you. Thank you so much for joining, and we look forward to seeing some of you again at our next session next week, which is going to explore the next grade level, 2 to 3.